Hello and welcome to the Pikeville City Commission Report. I'm Minta Trimble, Pikeville Main Street Director for the City of Pikeville, and with me is Commissioner Barry Cheney. And we're here today to tell you all of the latest events happening in Pikeville. Hello, Barry.
Hello, Minta. Good to be here again.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it, to always get a list of everything that's going on.
We do, and we've got some exciting things that have went on here in Pikeville, and I'm excited to talk about them today.
Yeah, we have had some really exciting things happening on 2nd Street.
We have, and you know what's going on 2nd Street. I believe that Caitlin and Mara have taken the word impossible and cut it out of the dictionary and thrown it away. They have done a fabulous job redoing the building that they have leased off the city, and I'll tell you they're well on their way to being a very successful business in Pikeville.
They are. Rustic and Roots is the business that we're talking about. Caitlin Salmons and Mara Minix answered a proposal put out by the City of Pikeville, along with the Pikeville Main Street program, for a specialized business to go into that building that we felt like would meet the needs of the business community, and of course, shopping. But more than that, it helps to promote things that are handmade, crafted here in our region. And they will do an excellent job and have, just by looking at the building inside and having the vision of being able to preserve the building itself. They've done a lot of, rehab in the building to bring it back to life.
They did. And, I understand that building was a hotel at one time. And, I mentioned to you before the show that wonder if it would be haunted. So that might be something people want to look for if there would be a ghost in there. And
well, there probably is. I have heard that there was a ghost, or is a ghost, and he visits over at Roasted Coffee and Cafe at the train station, and he has his suitcase. So I'm sure he left that place, which was the hotel, and went to the train station.
I'm sure he did.
So, but yes, we had a fantastic grand opening with them, and they are going to really meet the needs of being open a little bit later. They're going to be open probably 6 to 7 days a week. They'll probably not open till about 11 and stay in the evening till 7.
Yes.
They're going to have the pottery workshops there. If you are a local artisan or regional or whatever, it's going to be a place that you can put your handmade items, and they're going to take care of that, market it for you, and be your sales place and your salesperson and everything for you.
Backing up just a little bit, Minta, you mentioned Roasted. The old train station baggage building. Mm-hmm. You also mentioned the Rustic Roots on 2nd Street. I'd like to point out those two buildings sat empty for some time with no interest. And it was planned by the Commission and Main Street to have these contests for people to present business proposals. Mm-hmm. To encourage business to come into town. And, both those people presented very favorable, very positive business plans and proposals, and they met needs that we had in the community. The Roasted came as an idea from the senior class from Pikeville High School a couple of years ago. They felt that we needed a coffee shop, and who can argue with good coffee?
Exactly.
And Roasted, need that they are going to meet for us is not only our arts community, but also, they'll be marketing organic products.
Exactly.
And as of late, I'm trying to go organic as much as I can because, quite frankly, it's just better for you. And I know Caitlin does some organic. All of her catering that she does is organic, and so it's going to be interesting. It is interesting to see all that she has in there and all the opportunity that she's presenting to the local artists in the community. Mm-hmm. And people can actually make some money through her, and they may make a lot, they may not make too much, but they do have the opportunity if they want it.
Well, in the last areas, over the past couple of weeks, we've had a couple of red carpet events for downtown businesses, and we've had the Christmas parade, and then Main Street had the festivities on 2nd Street after the parade, and we're trying to do a lot of things with the community. But what people are seeing is these businesses are, such as Roasted and Rustic Roots, are coming to 2nd Street and to downtown. So they're looking at other available buildings. And I had one lady stop me on the street after the ribbon cutting the other day at Mickey's. And she said, there's another business at the corner of 2nd Street and Caroline. Well, it's a potential business. It's a building that's available. And she said, what do you think would fit what you all have in mind for 2nd Street to become? So we're going to be meeting with her. So it's like a wheel effect.
Yes.
When people see the momentum and they feel that they do have support behind them. And small businesses make up the majority of entrepreneurs in the United States. And we're giving them an opportunity here.
Yeah. And you know, the entrepreneur is who creates the job, because you know, a new business comes in. After 5 years, they usually don't hire any new people, but in that first 5-year period, that's when they hire their new people. But you know, I remember though, 10, 11 years ago, people were concerned about our downtown because nothing was going on down there. Today, we have businesses that are there. We have businesses that are coming. We have restaurants throughout town now. You come down after 6 o'clock in the evening, you've got people walking around town, you've got people coming to eat, and you know, you just didn't have that 10 years ago.
You know, back in the 70s when I was in high school, of course, downtown, you know, was the place you did most of your business. And then it, you know, with the sprawl, with the malls and stuff went away. And the force to be back downtown is there. We have even, I don't know if you know this, that one of our local restaurant owners, Matt Corbin at Blue Raven, he is even taking on another side of food. He's going to be having a pizza shop on Main Street.
I've heard that, and
Yeah.
you know, I spoke to a young lady last night that I was telling her about Matt going to put that in, and she became very excited. She said pizza was her favorite thing, and so she's can't wait for him to open that up, and I think it'd be a very good business for Matt.
I think so too, because you know his food is delicious. You know, at Blue Raven,
Oh, it
and
is. It's
he's
wonderful.
so good with dinner. And just to get a little bit of a different spin on a slice of pizza, it's going to be exciting.
And you know, also the Blue Raven got mentioned in the Wall Street Journal.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it's been a little while back, but he did get mentioned in the Wall Street Journal, and you know, we had a business executive that came in from CSX, and he wanted to eat, and that's where he wanted to go. So it was you know, it was odd because he's from Nashville, but that's where he wanted to go because he had heard about the Blue Raven.
Oh, that's great. I knew it was one of the top 10 best places to eat in Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
But so tell us what else has the commission been doing? I know that I hear some money is coming our way for.
Well, we do have some money coming our way, but I also, before we get into that, Amanda, I want to talk about the football.
Oh,
I mean, my goodness, what a game!
Oh my gosh!
I tell you, I was unable to go to the game. I promise I will not miss another one. And I was at my father-in-law's house, and we listened on the radio, and we were watching UK, and we just tuned UK out because the game just got so exciting. And you know, the character which those young men played was just tremendous. And you know, to come back being down in the third quarter just shows tremendous character and dedication. And it also reflects the character of their coach. So they're just a great team. And one of the things that I'm particularly proud of, Minta, is that after that game, they had some YouTube videos on, and those young men were giving all the glory to God for their victory. And you know, what does that say about our youth here in Eastern Kentucky? I think it's, you know, all of Kentucky needs to look at what Pikeville's youth is. And it's just a tremendous win, tremendous boost to the community. Everybody's happy and excited.
It definitely is, and you know, and such an accolade to have state champs, junior high,
Yes.
As well, and it just definitely brings a bond of the community, and also in the county. You know, Belfry, as you were mentioning to me.
Well, yeah, and you know, Coach Haywood, in his, I saw an interview with him, and you know, he really hit the nail on the head when he said that this gives our community something to rally around at a time that we've had so much bad news. You know, these wins were for the people. I mean, it's uplifting It's a positive influence on our area. And I mentioned impossibility earlier, and you know, that's something that we can no longer afford. We can no longer afford the word of impossible. We have no choice but to move forward and to progress and to diversify our economy.
Well, exactly, and that definitely secures the future for these young people,
It does.
the football team, and they see, you know, they're because you know, high school is definitely where you make your long, you know, term friends, and those that you're going to carry through life with, and relationships, and you want them to stay here in the community. So, being such a tight-knit community with the city, with the commission, with those that really have put their heart and soul into it, it gives them that motivation to realize that we're working for something for their future.
True, and you know, our young people, they don't want to leave us. They
Exactly.
would like to stay here. They want the opportunities, so they need the opportunities to stay here. And you know, it thrills me when somebody young like Kelly O'Rourke that works for the chamber comes back and is able to go to work and contribute and build the community that she lives in. And you know, I want that for all of our children.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're blessed in that aspect. And yeah, we listened to the game the other night, and then, well, we tried to watch it, and we thought it was going to be on TV. Then we get the radio out, and it just seemed like everything that came up was against us listening to it. But I was very excited. They started out strong, a little bit back, but then it was so exciting, and I want to congratulate them. And in fact, you know, I think we have going to congratulate them. We're going to honor them.
We are. We're going to have them in and read a proclamation for them and talk about them. And you know, they are. They're. You know, I know some of their teachers, and they tell me that this is the greatest group of kids, or young men. Let's say not kids anymore. These young men are just fine, good young men. And you know, that's what Eastern Kentucky's about. Good, solid upbringing and fine young men and women. I think we get a little bit of negative press sometimes downstate, but you know, this is a great place to live. You know, if you lived in Lexington, you know, they've had 17 homicides since January, and I think my wife told me she read there was a shooting there last night. So you know, we don't have that here. You know, we have a certain amount of safety here that's not shared in a bigger town and those areas.
Well, we work hard, I think, with the police department, with Chief Philip Reed,
Yes.
and the schools. Tell us a little bit about, I know that you were telling me a program that they have
Well,
implemented.
you know, I've after the California shootings, I did have a conversation with Chief Reed, and we talked a little bit about our community. But one of the things that Chief Reed shared with me, if there is there is a shooter that would come to one of our high school or our grade school, there is a plan in place for the teachers what to do. There is a plan for all the employees of the school what to do. Our police officers, they'll do a walkthrough through the schools throughout the day. We have our DARE officers that visit the schools. So we pay a lot of attention to our schools because we want to be protected in case something like that happens. And you know, people say, well, you know, that wouldn't happen here, but you don't know, and
Right.
we're prepared for it. And also, I discussed with him about implementing a plan for City Hall because you know, if something like this happens, unexpected like this happens, knowing what to do will save lives. And we actually have an officer trained in this, so he's going to be doing plans for the City Hall, and also he did the plans for the schools. But also Chief Reed told me that if there is a business or organization within the city limits of Pikeville, that they would feel more comfortable in having a plan in place to contact them. And you know, we'll send our officer out and design a plan for them, what people can do to reduce the loss of life in these situations.
And I'm sure there's even things, you know, for our community, for our residents, awareness of certain things and steps to take. It's not being, of course, not in fear, but I just feel like aware that we live in a society nowadays that it's unpredictable.
Yes, it is. It is, and it does cause a great deal of concern among us. And but like I say, as you said, being prepared, watching what's going on around you, will get you by a lot.
And especially the holiday season, I always think,
Yeah.
like you told me before, make sure your doors are locked. And my husband will say, get that stuff out of the car. Don't give people a reason to.
Right. Due to, I say it was Boston study that they did on crime. You have to have a motivated offender, target of opportunity, and the absence of a capable guardian, which a capable guardian could be a locked door, or an alarm, or a police officer driving by. And we pay, when we have events and we need extra police patrols, we always double our shifts over, because we have officers that work the events, but we do not leave our neighborhoods unprotected either during those times. One of the biggest motivators for a motivated offender is poverty, and that's the driving force behind that crime. So you watch for those things, and they do an extremely good job.
They do, and of course we want to commend them for that. Well, I kind of got ahead of myself when I was all excited about the monies that were coming up for the bike trail.
Bike trail, yes. The bike trail, we've received nearly $500,000, I think $490,000 for the bike trail, and this will be there's some adventure biking, and I guess call it adventure biking.
It'd be an adventure for me right now to try to ride one.
Well, I guess for me it can kind of be a spectacle.
So tell me about the trail. Where is it at? Where and I should.
Well, there will be some through Bob Amos. They'll have some bike lanes through town, and it will encompass a lot of Bob Amos, and it'll be nice.
So it does sound like it's going to be a little more adventure as well as along the road. I know a lot of cities I go to, they definitely have a designated bike lane and is marked as that. Pretty much through a lot of their streets in their town, and don't know if it'll come to that, but definitely it's exciting to hear that they will have a place. We have a lot of bikers.
We do,
and
more people are going to bikes for nothing more than a lot of it's just to become more physically fit. Even the new courthouse was designed for people that might want to ride their bike to work. They would have a place to shower whenever they came to work and change clothes. So it's people are thinking more along those lines, getting exercise, and we're moving along with it.
Yeah, I wonder how far it'll extend up Bob Amos. I'm anxious to hear about that. If it will go through the little bit more of the.
Well, we'll be discussing that bike plan in the work session Monday night at the meeting. We'll know exactly how far we're going to go with everything, and it'll be really nice. It'll be something that we've wanted for some time, and to get this grant at the closing of this administration would be great, or is great. And also, we're talking about parks and things. I also want to take a minute to honor Smokey Blankenship here. He passed away. He was a former city commissioner, former parks director. In fact, one of the trails that Bob Amos is named after him, Smokey Blankenship Trail. And he served our community. I believe he served on the hospital board as well. And we're going to take time and we're going to read a proclamation honoring him Monday night. People, when people give of themselves and serve their community as much as Smokey and others have, we need to honor them and remember them.
We do.
Yes.
And I've always said sometimes it's good to feel honored and remembered before
it is
as well. And
but we don't seem to do that, do we?
We don't seem to do that. We always
forget.
But I've got exciting news too on a little bit of the money front. Main Street applied for a grant through the Department of Local Government in Frankfort for a facade on 2nd Street. So it has to be dedicated to an outside awning or something that's going to visually change the outside facade appearance of an existing business. So we've got a little bit of money we're going to spend, and we're very excited about that.
We do, and you know, we like, and I'm happy that our town is starting to look like this, because continually, you know, whenever you meet somebody or have somebody send you a Facebook message, I guess that's how everybody communicates nowadays. You know, they talk about how beautiful Pikeville is and how they didn't remember it this way, and how wonderful it is, and how much they like it. And you know, the positive side of that too is that when you've got businesses that are looking to do business in Eastern Kentucky, whenever they come to Pikeville, this is where they like to be. This is where they choose. And this is Pikeville, the way our town looks, is also going to help us when we recruit business and factories and things for Marion Branch. That will give us a leg up. And not only that, our school system and our football team. And you know, those are things. Anybody that's moved some other place, the first thing you look at is schools. Then the next thing you look at is what the town has to offer. And you know, I think in a lot of those categories, we rank high. And another example of that is Alltech. You know, they wanted to come to Eastern Kentucky. They looked at Eastern Kentucky, and they saw Pikeville. And what I understand, they said Pikeville's where we want to be. And you know, how can you argue with that? And it's because of all the work that's been done in Pikeville.
So they're continuously working on 2nd Street now with Alltech. Remind us again when they're proposing to be.
Well, it's been pushed back a little bit because, you know, they've had to go so far down with the foundations. They're drilling 150 pylons, and have to be filled with concrete and rebar to hold the thing up. From what I understand, you know, looking at the soil that we've had here, we run a perfectly good farm by putting a city on it all those years ago.
Oh, really?
We did. You have to go really deep to hit solid rock to support heavy buildings.
Okay.
When we discovered that, when where the Jenny Wally Theater is, that used to be a parking garage, but when they looked and examined the foundation, they discovered that they had dug very deep holes and just filled them full of concrete. So that's got a real solid foundation. It goes down about 90 feet.
Okay.
So it takes a little bit extra preparation if you build downtown. And Alltech, I think they were surprised that they would have to go so deep, but they're going ahead and they're doing all that excavation work down inside. It looks like they're not doing anything, but they are working in that part of it to make that foundation very solid to build on.
August 2016, I think we were looking at. So
we're looking at August 2016. May go a little bit over that because of, like I say, the extra work for the foundation, but they're very excited and want to get that open as soon as they can. And you know, that will be another tourist attraction, and pull more people in downtown.
And more jobs.
And more jobs.
Definitely. I mean.
And you know, one of the things that was reported throughout this Christmas shopping season was that more people have shopped online than have gone into brick and mortar stores to buy. And one of the complaints that retailers have is that they're not selling as much in those brick and mortar stores. And people are buying online, but the difference between buying online and going into the brick and mortar store is that when you go online, you search for a specific item. And like if you want a pair of shoes, you go look at a particular pair of shoes, you order a pair of shoes, and they mail it to you. But if you go to a brick and mortar store and you walk around, you may go in and buy a pair of shoes, then you might buy a pair of socks, you might buy a jacket or a pair of pants or slacks for ladies. And you know, they call it impulse shopping. I'm not guilty of that.
Well, another thing that helps is people don't realize when they have, and online is everything. Nowadays it is. It's your immediate, resource for what you don't know where to get, how to get, or how much the cost is. But when you have a choice, that if you can find that item local, that you are supporting that person that has a family here, that they spend their money here, and it makes a cycle of community
It does.
economy. So when you have a choice, and I try to do this, to think, if I'm going to buy the next thing, I would like to think where I can find it here first, because I know that I'm contributing to the community where I live, and money goes back in, and that keeps us from being a ghost town. That
It
keeps
does.
us from being a non-progressive town, because we are supporting that is here.
It is, and the vision that we had for downtown was that it would be walkable, that people would be able to stop into those different little shops and stores and buy various items, and it makes a pleasurable afternoon to be able to just come downtown and walk around, maybe go eat at one of the restaurants.
And Jenny Wiley, I mean, the whole purpose of, I
Yeah.
didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh,
but
that's fine.
It's a piece of the puzzle. It's a piece that if you offer people from around the area, outside the area, with a local theater, and now they're offering dinner as
Right.
well too. So you have that theater experience, which is our new little logo with a Main Street is shop, dine, and unwind. We want you to shop,
yeah.
here. We want you to dine here, and we want you to unwind. Theater, the cinemas, Main Street Live. During the summer, we want to be able to offer things. So that walkability is created by the theater, by the restaurants, by the park being close, by the expo being close.
Right.
It's an intentional thing.
It is, and it's a quality of life that you really can't get other places.
Well, and of course, there's all kinds of businesses, there are all kinds of commerce. We do need the other stores to survive as well, because
Right.
they do create jobs and things. But it does bring home a sense of home.
Well, it
with
does.
Christmas season.
It does, but if you remember, back in the 60s and 70s, 90% of the population of Pikeville was between the upper bridge and the lower bridge. And when the Weddington Plaza went in, I remember that the talk was it created a lot of fear in Pikeville, because they said that was when Pikeville moved out of town, and there was a time that wasn't all that much in town anymore, and to bring it back, to bring back stores and shops and things of that is just fantastic to be able to do that.
And I look at some of the residential community that we do have in Pikeville, and I know it's been a hardship on them in some ways, but in other ways we hope that we're fulfilling the need to have things. I'm speaking about Pikeville Commons and things, the houses on the other side, but the growth might be sometimes a little bit of a stretch, but
well, it is, but you have to grow.
Exactly.
We can no longer afford not to grow. If you look at a lot of our small towns in eastern Kentucky, they're drying up, and and one of the reasons is because they haven't grown. And that's what we're trying to do, is to grow and diversify, so we'll be kind of insulated from that. And we're going to keep on. We've got some tremendous opportunities. We've got some good things going to happen down the road that we want to share with people. But for us, for this commission, the word impossible is not in our dictionary.
just take out the IM.
We do.
Mark it out, slash it out. Everything's possible with the Pikeville City Commission.
That's right. I'll tell you that. And you have to be that way. You have to be that way.
You have to have that mentality, and I think that we've got a great group, a great commission that definitely thinks down the road, outside the box.
Yeah, well, we do.
Thank you.
We do.
Well,
Thank
thank you for joining us today, Barry. It's always awesome. We always have so much to talk about.
We do. We went a little bit over today, but I enjoyed it. Thank you, Minta.
Thank you. And this has been Barry Cheney and Minta Trimble with the Pikeville City Commission Report. Thank you.